Her triumphs.
I took a group of women that didn't believe in themselves, and I just believed in them.
Her trials.
I never wanted to go to practice. I was losing a ton of weight.
Her story.
I just put my faith in God and just trusted the system.
Her why.
I want people to see what I did and say, oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to be better than that. That would be how I hope that this journey ends.
This is Her Why, where we tell the stories from BYU women's sports. Here is your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so glad you've joined us for Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. Joining us today is BYU's beam queen, Brynlee Andersen from the BYU gymnastics team. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Brynlee, you are incredible. What an incredible year you've had. BYU advanced past Utah State in the NCAA tournament. Then you individually qualified for nationals on beam and placed 16th in the country. What a feat. When you look back at the full season, how would you sum it up?
I just think unreal because at the beginning of this season, my first meet was kind of rough and I was like, are you kidding? Come on, Brynlee, you can do better than that. And so I think I was just really proud of myself because there was a lot of pressure going into the season from my freshman year last year. And sometimes gymnasts can be I don't know, am I as good? And I was like, no, I will be as good and I will be better. So I was just really proud of myself for that.
Where did that pressure come from? Was that something the coaches were telling you, hey, you could be really, really good at this?
I think a little, not really from the coaches. It was just I felt like I had a good freshman year and so there was kind of that expectation, come on, let's go. And so I think going into sophomore year, it's especially just most of the expectation for myself. I want to be as good and I want to be better. And so we want to make that happen, you know?
Well, gymnastics is so obviously physical, but also cerebral.
Yes.
So when you come into the season with those types of expectations, even if they're just for yourself, how do you mentally get into the right space?
I meet with Braden Brown a lot. Before I came to college, I didn't really use a sports psychologist, and I got here and they introduced him to our team, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of interested in that. And then a few months into it, I was like, oh, yep, I need one of those, please. Just because competing, we do the reps every single day in the gym, but you get out on the competition floor and it's oh my gosh. It doesn't matter how many times you do it, you're always your heart is always pumping. And so I think that just practicing those mental skills has helped me a lot. Getting up in the big moments and especially even going last or something like that to manage my thoughts. And so I know what I'm doing and I know I can do it.
Let's talk about the NCAA tournament meet against Utah State. What do you remember about that night that pushed the team to the next round?
That was just awesome because we went into the meet and we were yeah, let's go. We can beat them. And they were actually, I think we were tied rankings with them. But we already knew that we could do it, I think. Utah State is an amazing team, but our team knew that we could go in and we could hit and we could get the job done.
And you just did.
Yeah.
So it was just that confidence going into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now take us to regionals. At that point, were you thinking about nationals at all? Or were you I just one step at a time? So
beam was our first event, and yes, I was. The weeks leading up to it, I was come on, Brynlee, I want this so bad. But at one point, I was training and I was this is too much. I want it so bad, but I need to calm down a little bit. And I was okay, we're just gonna do it and have fun because this is fun, and we'll just see what happens. Because I already know that I can get up and do good, but it's also important to have fun because that is why we do it.
When you're hyped up like that, where you're you're so excited, you know what's on the line, do you perform better under that type of situation?
I think so.
Yeah. Under a little bit of pressure.
But also, I think getting up in that moment, it wasn't I did something that was so special or something like that. That actually really wasn't even one of my best routines. And when I got off the beam, I seriously was well, I just blew that. I'm not going. And the whole entire meet, I was seriously, I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have done this. And I watched every single person get on and off that beam because you have to have the highest qualifying score. And so I was please, just let this girl do so good, but just not above a 9.9, please. Because I took a little scooch on my dismount and I was are you joking me right now? And so I literally watched every single person. That was the most stressful meet I've ever watched in my life.
You didn't want them to fall. You
No,
just
I
wanted,
want
like,
them to
just
do
little
good, but
mistakes,
like
right?
maybe just not better than that.
So when did you officially find out you were going to nationals?
So, Utah and UCLA had to qualify on the Saturday meet. And so we went over to one of our friends' house and we were watching the meet. And I was probably like not a nice person to watch this meet with. They're like, oh, look at this. And I'm like, no, just don't talk about it, okay? We just need them to qualify so I can just go. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. So after that meet, I officially found out. And it was like the weirdest feeling because it was like, well, is this true? Like,
Yeah.
did I actually do this? Or is like this a joke or is this real? Because there was like so many like tiebreakers that had to go on. So then I was unsure if it was actually real.
Yeah.
And then I was texting with my coach, Nat, and she's like, oh, yep, did it. And then she actually came over to my friend's house and surprised me with some flowers, and she's literally the best.
What was that like for you when she showed up?
I
love
just
that.
love her. Like, I open the door, and I just give her the biggest hug, and we both just start crying because like, we both just wanted it so bad, and she's seriously the best. And, like, she works with me every single day in the gym, day in and day out. Even on the hard days, she just picks me up and puts me on my feet, and we just keep going.
And Coach Natalie Broekman is the beam coach.
Yes.
Isn't she? She's specifically over the beam. She's incredible. We've had her on the show
Yeah.
before. What went through your head when it clicked that you'd actually be competing on the biggest stage in college gymnastics?
I think I was just so grateful because there had been, like, ultimately, my goal is to become an All-American as well as qualify to nationals. And so there had been like some hiccups in the road with scores and stuff to be an All-American ranking-wise. And so I was just really proud of myself for saying, no, it's okay. We can still, like, we have this and let's do this. Let's make it happen. So I was just really proud of myself. And I was also just so thankful to God. Like, this is insane and so many things had to go into this. And he's just the best for the, like, he gives me so many opportunities and I'm so blessed.
Take us inside nationals. What was that whole experience like from start to finish?
So we first got there and I'm like by myself. I have no teammates and I'm like, so who's gonna like tie my ribbons or like who's gonna put my makeup on my eyes? Like, I don't know. I'm standing there in the alternate locker room and I'm like, okay, guys, like I need a friend. So I'm like just standing by Nat. I'm like, what do we even do? So we got to this big stage and it's like the weirdest, like, you watch nationals on TV and you're like, that's a great deal. Awesome. Like, such a big deal. I'm so happy they get to do that. And obviously, it's a humongous deal. But then you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the arena was just so beautiful. And, like, warming up, Maya Hooten from Minnesota, she was so nice. And all the girls were so nice. And she just chatted with me the whole time. And seriously, that was so nice. And then Amari, I don't remember her last name, on Missouri.
Okay.
They were so welcoming, and that seriously made the experience so much better for me because it is so hard to go out there without your team. And I think that's something that we don't really realize until you're out there alone, and I'm like, okay, like, I don't really know, you know?
Who else went to support you there? Was your mom there?
Yes. So my mom came, and two of my aunts, one of my little cousins, one of my mom's best friends, and then Natalie's husband and my fiance Brady.
What was that like to look up in the crowd and see them
Well,
cheering for you?
It's just the best thing because like every meet when I go out, I always make sure that I can find my people. And so like honestly, before we went over to the beam, they moved. And so I was like kind of looking for them and I'm like, okay, I can't see them. Like, it's okay if I can't find them, but like maybe I should probably like, where are they? But it just meant the world to me for them to be there because especially when I have no team, like I just knew that they were there for me and that they believed in me. And so I just knew that they were going to love me no matter what I did up there.
So did you eventually find them?
Yes.
Where they were saying, okay, good. I'm like, oh,
yes,
man.
thank goodness.
Did you only get one shot on beam for nationals? How did you mentally prepare for that one routine?
I really had to make sure that I didn't make it a bigger deal than it was. Obviously, it's a huge deal, but if I went into the competition being like, this is the biggest routine of my entire life, that wasn't going to work. So me and Nat worked a lot on just executing my plan. And if I got up there and did my plan, then that was going to be enough.
How do you execute something so complicated like that under that much pressure?
Hard work. Thank God.
You're like, I don't know.
Endless reps.
What did you think right after you dismounted and you were done?
a big sigh of relief because I was actually shaking on the beam. I was just so thankful to be there, and I was just so thankful for the opportunity that God gave me to represent him on the biggest stage. Like, that's seriously unreal.
Like we said, 16th in the nation. When you saw your score come in, what was your reaction?
I was honestly a little mad.
Were you?
Yes, and that's going to sound like, oh, like, no, because I did good, but I just knew, like, I could do a better routine, and I was so thankful for that and my routine and all the things, but, like, I think I just hold myself to an expectation. And so, like, I saw the score and I was like, okay, like, that's okay. And it was like, you know?
Yeah. Well, just a sophomore, you made it to nationals, which is something very few women have done at BYU. Incredible season.
Thank you.
But what drives you to keep improving after hitting major goals like that? You're like, I'm just a sophomore, and you've kind of made it to the highest level. What drives you to keep improving?
I think just other goals too, like becoming an All-American or like even scoring a perfect 10 or things like that. But also going back to nationals and even doing better. And also just doing it with my friends every day is seriously, I just am so grateful for them because they make it so much fun. And I really couldn't do it without them.
And is that something you feel like I can do better than what I did?
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Brynlee talks about growing up in Utah, her back injury, and what being at BYU means to her. This is Her Why. What's up, everyone? This is Lauren McLean. If you like my podcast, make sure you listen to Legends of 84. Each episode tells the intimate stories of people associated with that 1984 national championship team. You'll hear from people like Robbie Bosco, Glenn Kozlowski, Kyle Whittingham, and Patty Edwards. Check it out on the BYU radio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, here with BYU's Beam Queen, Brynlee Andersen. So, Brynlee, you grew up in Orem, right near BYU. What was family like for you growing up?
My family?
Yeah.
I have one older sister and one younger brother. My sister's quite a bit older, and so she lived in Wyoming for a lot of time, so until a couple years ago. So when she would come home, it was like the best week ever. And every time I see her, I just love her so much. But like, she would come home from Wyoming, and it was like, no one's going to school this week. We're just doing all the fun things.
How far apart are the two of you?
11 years.
11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of relationship did you guys have growing up?
We're just like best friends. I just love her so much. She's so cute.
You have a lot of pictures of your mom on your Instagram, which is so darling. It seems like she's been there for a lot of big moments in your life. What role has she played in this journey of yours?
Oh, my mom seriously makes the world possible for me. Like, she has given seriously everything so that I can live my dreams, and even like just all the things I can't even explain. Like going into the competition, I'm telling her all of my thoughts and all the things, and she just sits there and she continues to remind me that I've got it and that I can do this.
Was she a gymnast at some point?
No.
So she's just on this journey with you, learning all the things as you are too. So at what point did you start falling in love with gymnastics?
So I was in dance and gymnastics when I was around 5. And then they both got to be like a little too time consuming. So it was like I had to choose one or the other. And she thought I would actually choose dance, but I don't know why I chose gymnastics. I just went for that, I guess. And thank goodness I did.
So was there a certain person that kind of got you into it, kind of pushed you one way or the other?
I don't think so. I honestly have no idea why I chose it. Probably just God was like, yeah, Brynn, just do that.
So before your college career even started, you went through a major back injury.
Yes.
In gymnastics that almost ended your career. When did you first realize something wasn't quite right?
So I think it was 2021. Like, I always had a little bit of back pain, but like it was whatever. And then one day I was doing a skill on bars. I fell off and I seriously thought I broke my arm, but luckily I didn't.
Oh, man.
And so I had to recover from that. And then as I was coming back, I don't know why, but like my back was killing me. And I have a high pain tolerance, but like I couldn't move. Like I couldn't even put on my shoes. I couldn't get in and out of the car. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't like do anything. And it was like the most frustrating thing on the whole earth.
How old were you at that time?
I must have been a sophomore in high school.
Okay. So then you went through a series of MRIs and x-rays and injections and the possibility of a nerve cauterization. And that's a lot for anyone to handle.
Yeah.
And you were just, 16
Yeah.
years old. So what do you remember feeling at that time?
I just remember feeling like just so defeated because we would go into these doctor's appointments and they would be like, oh yeah, like we're going to do this and this and this. And my mom was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And so we would just walk out like just feeling like lost, I think. And so then finally one day, seriously a miracle, my mom was doing nails. That's her job. She's a nail tech. And she was talking to her client and she was saying how her husband had surgery and like it didn't really work, but he'd been seeing this chiropractor who does these injections. My mom was like, okay, we've tried everything. Tell me about these injections, please. And so we end up going to this chiropractor and my back is like all over the place, like out of place all over. And so the first time I went in, he adjusted me and we ended up doing ozone and another type of shot, but I don't remember. I think I got like 20 shots in my back that day. But like we finally left feeling like some hope because he wasn't like, oh, your back is done for. He was like, no, this is fine. We'll fix it. It will take time, but this is the plan and this is what we're going to do. And so I'm just so thankful that he wasn't like, you're done. He was like, okay, well, no, this is fine, you know?
So there wasn't, so it was just kind of your back was just not aligned. It was
Yes.
just kind of, so is that why it was hard for other doctors? They're like, we don't know what to
Yeah.
do for you.
Yeah, because the MRI would come back and it would show not really anything. And so then they were like stumped and they just like tell you something the best they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did it feel like when somebody finally had some answers for you?
I just remember driving home in the car and finally me and my mom were like, well, like, yes, like this is good. We finally left the doctor's office not like sobbing because we have no answers and like all the things. And so we just felt really like thankful that we'd been directed in that path by God to find that doctor because, yeah.
At that point, did you know that gymnastics was something you could take to the next level?
Yes, because at this point I've been doing it for a long time and I loved it more than anything. And so like that was always the goal and college has always been the goal. So
how did you stay mentally strong when you knew something like that, like your dream, something you know, like I am so good at this, was potentially at risk because of this injury?
I think at the time I didn't really realize. I was just like, no, I'll fix it. Like I'll just figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I think also that's something my mom is so good at is that if there's a problem, like we don't need to panic. We can just figure it out and something will work out. And we just need to trust God's plan because ultimately that's going to be what it works out best.
She's the calming influence.
She is.
In the storm. Looking back now, what do you feel like having that injury taught you that maybe something you would have learned otherwise?
I think it's seriously, when you do gymnastics, it's like a hardcore sport. You're in there every single day. And so sometimes it can get a little bit tiring, but as soon as you have an injury, it really shifts your perspective. And I think it helped me have a lot more gratitude towards the sport and doing it because I loved it. And it helped me gain a new confidence in my gymnastics and in myself.
What would you say to maybe a younger gymnast or athlete who's facing an injury and kind of doesn't see a way out?
The biggest thing for me is you have to take it one day at a time because I also had a foot injury and I was on crutches and it was just like when you feel like you can't move around as well as you used to, you have to take everything one thing at a time and one day at a time because eventually you will get there. And if you just keep working hard, then you'll make it.
What do you feel like is something you wish someone would have said to you? Because I know you had the incredible support of your mom and others. But looking back, was there something you're like, man, I just wish someone would have said this to me?
Probably just like, it will all be okay.
Yeah.
Which everyone told me that, but like, just, you know.
From what I've read, BYU wasn't always your top choice.
Yeah.
To go continue your career in gymnastics. So take me through kind of your recruitment and how you ended up choosing the Cougars anyway.
So when I had a back injury, I was a sophomore. And that's kind of like your main recruiting year. Like that is so important. And because then once you become a junior, then you can talk to the colleges and they're going to look on your past year. Well, I didn't have a past year and it was honestly awful. So when I became recruiting age, no one talked to me. And because I didn't have a season to go based off of. And so once I came back from my back injury, I slowly started to progress. And growing up, a lot of the girls from my gym went to BYU. And so I was kind of like, well, I don't know, like if I want to do that. I also thought I would maybe want to go out of state.
Mhm.
And then as I grew up, I'm like, what am I even thinking? Like, no, I love it here. And so once going into my junior year of high school, Natalie Broekman had to come into our gym. And like somehow, by the grace of God, she was just like, I like her. And so I was like, oh, like BYU does like me. Like maybe I do want to go there.
Yeah.
And so just from there, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then they started to recruit me, and I've been recruited by a couple other schools. And so I was trying to decide, and one night I was texting my coach, Dawn Johnson, and she said, because I was like, I don't know about this and this, because originally I was on a 3-year scholarship, and I was like, well, maybe I could go somewhere else and get a full ride and things like that. And I remember texting her, and she said, Brynlee, what do you want from your college gymnastics? And like, what do you want? And I said, I want to be with my friends at BYU. And like in that moment, I just knew that that was the right decision for me.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Someone just asked you that point blank.
Yep.
And you had the answer right
Yes.
there. You've mentioned that being at BYU has been so much more than you expected because you get to do gymnastics for a higher purpose as well. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means to you?
So to me, like everything we have is from God. And so he gives us these talents. And I think it's the greatest thing on the whole earth to have the opportunity to go and represent him up on stage. Like he just gives us everything. And so I give everything I have to honestly just say thank you to him for giving me these abilities and these opportunities and all the things. And so being at BYU, it's so cool because like we're on beam and we're like talking about how we can spread joy and be Christ-like through how we perform on the beam. Like it's the most amazing thing. And so when I was a freshman, I was kind of like, I was doing good. And I think sometimes when I have something to focus on, that helps me progress and be better. And so Natalie actually shared this video, and it was like this college coach talking about his football player or something. And he talked all about glorifying God and like how we have these opportunities as athletes to get up and glorify God. And I said, okay, that's my focus, and that's why I'm here, and that's what I can do. I get up there and I glorify God in this situation and all the things.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that calms you down a little bit when you have that
Yes,
focus?
definitely.
How's your faith shaped your experience here, not just as an athlete, but also as a person and a student?
As a student, the religion classes here are a little hard, but
Agreed.
they're amazing.
Totally
And
agree.
I truly love learning about all the new things. And I think it's so cool that we can be taking like a humanities exam. And it's like, well, how does this apply to how we can be more Christ-like and all these things? And I just think that it strengthens your testimony in that way. And we learn so much more about ourselves through like learning about even humanities.
Very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique. The first day you sit on campus and you're saying a prayer.
Yes.
In class,
yeah.
you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Mitch is like, who will say it? I'm like, oh, I'm a little scared, so I probably won't.
You'll say it in your heart.
Yeah.
Now that you've been here a couple seasons, what would you say is the highlight of your NCAA career so far?
The highlight of my career. Individually, I would probably say Nationals. But as a team, I really, really, really loved day 2 this year of regionals. Just because when we went out there, we were just having so much fun. And everyone was just having the best time because we were just putting everything we had out on the floor. And I was just so thankful to be out there with all my teammates.
You have an incredible support system, like you mentioned. You have your mom, and then you're just recently engaged,
Yes,
which is
I
so
am.
much fun.
Yes,
And that
I'm
happened
so
at the Tulip
excited.
Festival,
Yep.
right? Gorgeous pictures.
Thank you.
Tell me the story. Did you know it was coming?
I
How'd
had
that day go?
literally no idea.
Really?
So we woke up, we went to gym, and Maya and Chloe on my team were like, oh, like, yeah, we were thinking we want to go to the Tulip Festival night. I'm like, okay, sounds good. That's great. We'll come. I'm like, I'll just see if Brady wants to come, like, because we had been talking about it before or whatever. And so I call him. I'm like, hey, yeah, they're going to go probably. I don't really know. And so he's like, okay. Like, he's calling Maya, Chloe, and Addie. And he's like, guys, like, should I propose tonight? What do I do? And they're like, yes, let's do it. And so everyone is running around behind the scenes and, like, trying to plan all these things. And I live with Addie. And so she's trying to help plan all these things. But we're in the same house. And so, like, how did I not notice that this was going on? I'm not sure. But I'm like trying to take a test. And I'm like, I am getting in the shower, like, I'm doing this, and she's literally, like, outside. And I'm like, oh, no one answered that. That's a little weird, but, like, whatever. I just have to get in the shower, so I'm going to do it. And so we get to the Tulip Festival. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I love these flowers. Just so cute. And so Addie's brother and his girlfriend go up to take a picture first in this field. And then I'm like, okay, like, yeah, we're up. Let me just, whatever. We go up there, we're taking a picture. I'm like, okay, cool. We're done now. And then, like, I go to walk away, and I, like, turn. And he's, like, getting down on his knee, and I'm like, don't joke with me. Like, it's not funny. It's not funny.
Is that something he would joke about?
So he didn't ever joke about it because he said he was very purposely didn't joke about it. But, like, yes, he always jokes about things. So I'm like, don't do it. But he originally told me that it was going to take 8 to 10 weeks for the ring to get here. So I'm like, okay, like, June, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, I was, like, a little sad. And so then he's getting down, and I'm like, don't joke with me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is real. Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this. And he's seriously so cute. I was so happy.
Yeah, that's my kind of guy. He's waiting, just seizing the opportunity last minute. He's like, yeah, let's just do this. I love it. I love that you had your mom was there too, wasn't she? And you had so many friends. What was that like having all those people experience it with you?
It was so awesome. I just love them so much. And they all did such a good job of, like, planning it out and making sure it was so special for me. And I was just so happy to have them all there.
So rumor has it that Brady is Natalie Broekman's son, your coach's son.
Yep.
All right, start from the beginning. How did you guys meet? What's the story?
Okay, so when I got to BYU, it was around the time that he left for his mission. He just got home in September. And so he would call home on P days and be like, yeah, like, how's the team? How's the beam team? And she would, like, mention my name. I don't know what we're talking about, but, like, my name would just be mentioned. And I think he saw a picture or something. And he's like, okay, I'll marry that one. I'm going to come home and I'm going to marry her. I'm going to marry Brynlee. And so Nat's like, whatever. Like, no, you're not. Whatever. So it just keeps going, though. And so, like, he calls home, and then, like, we'll be on the road, and he'll be like, okay, mom, please tell her I said what's good. Just tell her, okay? So we're at breakfast, and Nat will, like, come down and be like, hey, Bryn, like, Brady said to say what's good. And I'm like, I don't even know who Brady is. Like, I don't know Brady, but, like, okay. And so then, like, it's getting closer to when he's going to come home, and everyone's like, like, he's coming home. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know him.
So you hadn't, like, talked or written a letter? Nothing.
In my life,
okay.
no. But he just knew he was going to come home and marry me. And so he gets home, and Nat won't give him my number. And he's like, please, Mom, please. And so his plan was for me to come to the homecoming talk. So Nat sends out this invite and is like, hey, like, my son just got home if anyone wants to come to homecoming. And everyone's like, Bryn, are you going to go? I'm like, I don't know him. No, I'm not going. Like, I don't know. Because then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. And so,
but you'd clearly seen a picture of him.
Yeah.
By that point.
Well, his brother Tate's literally asking me to rate him on the bus before I even knew him. And so I didn't go to the homecoming. I still get beef for that to this day. I didn't come because that was his original plan. So then he had to find a new plan because Nat would not give him my number. Like, she's like, no, you're not doing that. And so Dave, her husband, he DMs me on Instagram and is like, hey, if you don't have a boyfriend, like, I want you to go on a date with my son. And I'm like, send him my way, Dave. Let's do this. And so,
wow. So the dad, he pulled through.
Dave pulled through for us.
Good job, Dave. That's incredible. So what, and then it just progressed fast from there.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, yeah, I like this guy. So what was Natalie's reaction when you guys started to get serious? I mean, did you, because you have that, like, coach-athlete relationship.
Nat's, like,
what was
already
that like?
basically my mom in the gym and, like, even in life. So, like, at the beginning of it, just no one said anything. Like, we would just go into the gym, we'd do our business, everything was as usual. And then it was actually so perfect. Like, you would think it would be so weird, but it's really not at all. Like, she's just like my mom, and, like, I don't know, it just works.
So incredible. So now you're always engulfed in gymnastics. You know, you have a wedding to plan.
Yes.
How do you balance all those things?
Lots of just moving quick.
When are you guys planning on getting married?
Oh, we're getting married on August 14th.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, it's coming up.
It's coming.
Hopefully,
I'm very busy.
A lot of help. Are you getting a lot of help?
Yes, tons.
Good. So you've earned the nickname Beam Queen.
Yes.
Has beam always been your strongest event?
I've always loved beam. growing up all through club, like I don't know, I gravitated toward that event and I just loved it.
So, okay, so beam might be your best event, but is it your favorite?
It really is.
It truly
like
is.
in the gym, even the other day, me and Chloe are doing beam and I'm like, you know what, Chloe? Like, as long as we get to do beam in the day, we're having a good day. Like, I love it. It's so fun.
That's a good mindset. What do you think makes you so successful on the beam when you think about it? Is it your confidence, your technique, your mindset? What makes you so good at it?
I think it's a combination of all the things. I think that it is my technique because that's something I've worked on for years and years and years. And really just like understanding how to, because half the time you're on the beam, you are not on the beam. Like you're off in the air, but somehow you just have to put it on and pull it up. That's what I think. And I think also the confidence, because it's like, yeah, I know I can do good at this, and so I'm going to do good at this, you know?
You always seem really composed up on the beam, but what's going through your mind like those first few seconds when you get on?
So I actually say the exact same words to myself every single time I get on the beam, because when you get up there, you're thinking like 1,000 different things. And so if you always have the words to go back to and your main focus that you already know works, it's so helpful. But like sometimes in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, please, come on, just do it. Please do good.
Do what you know.
Yeah.
So what do you say? What do you say to yourself?
I just say a lot of keywords. Like before my aerial, I say aggressive cat leap, patient chest, strong legs, or something like that.
So you're basically going through your routine by saying those words in your mind.
Or I'll be like, breathe, slow down, one thing at a time.
Wow. The beam is incredible. It's just,
Thank you.
It's terrifying to watch.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But amazing. Looking ahead, you're going to be an upperclassman next year, which
That's
is probably a little
crazy.
crazy to think about. What kind of leader do you want to be on this team?
I think the main thing I want to focus on when I lead is just helping my team believe that we can do it and get to the next level, because obviously it is a long shot to make it to nationals or day 2 of regionals sometimes. But like, if we push ourselves and we believe that we can do it, we really can. And first step is putting in the work, like getting in the gym and holding yourself to an expectation that will get us there, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you're the example now, right? Because you're the upperclassman. And I love that you have your team first mentality. But moving forward in these last couple of years of your career, what do you feel like you need to do to take your own game to the next level?
I think just gain more experience. Like this year was great because I gained so much experience. I'm so thankful for having this experience at nationals so that I can move forward and then push myself even further and farther to just gain more accomplishments and achieve more goals.
I'm here with the beam queen, Brynlee Andersen from the BYU gymnastics team. Brynlee, you are incredible.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming on and sharing your
for
story.
having me.
Congratulations on getting
you.
married coming up soon, and can't wait to watch you next season.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to Annie Robinson and Christy Solomon for producing this episode with senior producer Cleon Wall. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.